Hey guys, and Happy New Year. It seems like 2021 has flown by, and I hit a few personal milestones along the way. I surpassed 10,000 subs, got almost a million views this year, and just generally had a pretty fun time doing it. I do have some big stuff planned for 2022, some of which I'll be mentioning towards the end of the video, but I thought I'd take a moment today to look back across some of my personal favourite builds this past year. These are in no real particular order, save for the last three. So without further ado, enjoy. My third most favourite build this year is my Nemedian Castle speed build from October 27th. Looking back, I was planning and constructing this build over a few days, and I took inspiration from a few different sources. It was a really fun build to construct, and it kind of really showed me that Nemedian is one of my favourite sets in the game. Granted, I probably did go a little bit overboard. Just trying to walk or fly around the build to record it proved more than troublesome at times due to the performance drop, simply because of how massive this structure is. However, I think it is up there with some of my best castles. My second most favourite build this year has to be ShimCo Castle from December 12th. This was a commission build I undertook at the time for an in-development roleplay server, and it was a build that I purposely made more difficult for myself to ensure that I could come up with the best design possible. I usually take the easy route of just laying out the castle with foundations and adjusting the height as necessary to sit above the ground level, though with ShimCo Castle I went for a more segmented design that really utilises the sharp inclines and declines of the rocks that this castle is built on. I usually find I like the idea of segmented builds but not the execution, but ShimCo Castle manages to fulfill both of those criteria for me. I think it's one of the best castles I've done, and it perfectly captures the spirit of a grand fantasy castle that is protected by the rough terrain whilst not compromising its attractive appearance. Finally, my favourite build this year has to be the Inexian Seafort from October 20th. This build is my favourite not only because of the construction, I definitely think it's one of my best builds in that regard, but also the backstory. Aside from creating Conan content, in my free time I've written a fair few short form stories, usually falling into the space between dark fantasy and Lovecraftian cosmic horror. The backstory for this entire build came from the Inexian Cabal, a story detailing an elderly sailor's past encounter with the murderous Inexian pirates. This build also went on to inspire an expositional story named The Being in the Borehole, which details the history of the Inexian clan and how they went from wealthy pirate family to a destitute and dejected group ran by a traumatised man paralysed by his fear of death, and eventually their evolution to blood-crazed monsters, trading the flesh and life of innocents to a strange demon in return for eternal life. This build is quite personal to me as a way to take the ideas I've written down and finally find a way to visualise those ideas in a way that I can express not only the story of the Inexians, but also how it would feel to stand in this sepulchre of death that is their seafort, to breathe in the rot and the iron in the air, and to lay one's eyes upon the dreaded being in the borehole. This is my absolute favourite build this year, and hopefully pretty soon I'm aiming to release a standalone version of the Inexian Cabal for you all to read. So in conclusion, thank you for an absolutely great year here on YouTube. I decided to quit my retail job and try to do this full time back in late 2019, and it's been a wild ride since then. This year I'm hoping to do even more. I want to get you guys involved in some projects, collaborate with Funcom and other content creators, and I want to bring back some of the things that have been missing from this channel for a hot minute. My new Settlers series is something I'm really invested in, and I'll be using future seasons as a vector to show off some more ideas, characters and places from my writings. But I also intend to bring back and really start to put some work into the Colonizing Conan project this year. I ended up really burnt out on that for a while, but to be honest I'm hungry to get cracking on that project and let people see what I have in store. Of course, a massive thanks has to go out to my patrons who have supported the channel directly, but also a massive thanks to my subscribers, commenters, and even just the random viewers that watch a couple of videos every now and then. There were times when I didn't really think that this would go anywhere, but 2021 was pretty good to me on the YouTube front, and I'm sure 2022 will be even better.